It's a really exciting day at Carvetii today. We've just taken delivery of the Eagle One espresso machine from Victoria Arduino. This actual model doesn't go into production until March, so we're really excited to get this pre-production model here to have a bit of a play with and see what's inside the box. I've seen a few photos and videos of this machine, but it's the first time I've seen it in real life. So the next step is to get it out of its box and onto the bar. So here it is, the Eagle One, straight out of the box. It's not been plumbed in yet, it's not been switched on yet. This is our very, very first impressions of this machine. Overall, we love the look of this machine. I've only seen videos, I've only seen photographs until now. Very hard to judge something, but seeing it in the flesh, there's a lot to like about this machine. It has a very compact design, and considering there is a steam boiler and two independent coffee boilers inside, there's a lot happening under the hood, but they've managed to fit it into a very compact, small design, both in its length and in its overall height. And I like coffee machines to sit on the front bar in a coffee shop. It allows people to see what's going on in the coffee shop and, if need be, engage with customers. I really don't like the idea of machines at the back and baristas having their backs to customers. Trouble is, that front bar is often a great merchandising place. It's a selling spot. It's where you can put those items you want customers to see and to buy. So having a machine that's compact and yet is powerful enough to deliver coffee after coffee after coffee, it's a really great design feature. And this lovely low profile to it means even with cups on top, when I get the cups stacked on here, I'll be able to see out and see what's going on. The side panels are really nice, as is the back. Really simple design, made out of a nice material, but they're designed to be easy to customize. I've already seen a couple of examples in marble and in wood, and I can imagine how easy it would be to swap these out. The back panel in particular, easy to cut and easy to refit a completely different back panel, allowing cafes to customize the look of their machine to how they want it to be, and possibly change the look really easily from time to time. I'm mostly intrigued by the steam ones and hot water tap. Up until now, I've been used to manually controlled, either lever or rotational steam ones, dial steam ones, and where there's a distinct, clear movement for them to come on and a movement to turn them off. These are controlled by electronic switches. The movement's quite small and subtle, and it'll be really interesting to see how that operates. It's solenoid valve operated, so there's a valve in here, and the electronic switch will open and close the valve. A lot of the Victoria Arduino machines, I like the way that the workspace is really open. You just have the groups in the front here, and you've got a lot of line of sight into the machine. And I always find it really nice to operate machines that they make. I'm a big fan of this open visual space that you have. So the next job is to get it plumbed in, turned on, get some coffees through it, and then we'll have a chat again about what we find. So here we have it, the Eagle One. Power on, plumbing done, heated to temperature, and we've been pulling shots and steaming some milk for the past couple of hours. We've had the whole team up here having a go. Everyone's had a go at making a few coffees, having a go at the steam wand, and the kind of overwhelming feedback so far is they really enjoy working on this machine. It's a really enjoyable machine. It looks good, it feels good, and a lot of the controls have been nicely thought out. So what we thought we'd do is we'd share some of the highlights we found out while using it, some of the things that we've uncovered over the past couple of hours. Before we do, it's worth mentioning that we've had to downgrade the machine slightly. I've got a 16 amp supply under the bar, and it needs a 20 amp supply. So we've put it into power management mode, which means it draws a little bit less supply. That means that the particularly steam boiler heat up time, which I'm going to quote in a minute, would probably have been quicker than we found this morning. That said, it took just 7 minutes from switching on to getting these two groups heated to temperature. And after those 7 minutes, I was able to start dialing the machine in. It only has 150 ml coffee groups, so really small coffee groups behind each of these here. That means it's not holding, if you've got a quiet period, it's not holding a lot of water at the correct temperature. It's only holding small amounts of water at the right temperature. And because there's small amounts of water, it can heat them up really quickly. The steam boiler behind took about 20 minutes to heat up. I think that again, that would have been quicker with a full supply. But what was really interesting was the steam boiler works at 2 bars of pressure. So it had to go much higher in pressure than most machines operate at. Most machines operate around about the 1.2 bar pressure range. So obviously that 20 minutes included that additional 0.8 of a bar that this machine needed to get to. It's only got a 7-litre steam boiler, so it's quite small. And again, the idea is we're not keeping a lot of water hot all the time, but that additional steam pressure means we've got plenty of pressure here when it comes to using the steam ones. When it came to dialing the machine in, I thought I'd put myself under a bit of pressure. I thought I'd time how long it took me from the groups getting warm to me making a drinkable espresso. And that included setting up the whole of the machine, the buttons, going into the menu, understanding the menu, thought how intuitive is this machine. I've had a brief look at it in the past, not actually got hands-on, but I listened to a few people explain things. So I wasn't coming to it entirely cold, but I've never actually got hands-on to it before now. And it took about 20 minutes to get from warm to actually getting a drinkable espresso. And in that 20 minutes, I had to alter the pump pressure. I had to find ways of adjusting the temperatures at the groups to where I wanted them. I wanted to play around with setting these steam ones, which I'll come back to in a minute. And also I needed to set the group dispense amount. So each of these buttons dispense the right amount of water for me, as well as obviously dialing the grinder in at the same time. The touch screen here is where you'll find all the little settings that you need. Very intuitive to use, very easy to use. I am used to these kinds of menus because we have a White Eagle that has something similar, but to be fair, very easy to use. There is an app that is going to be standing alongside this, so a lot of this control can be done on an app away from the machine, and that's just simply sent over. And I can imagine that'd be quite handy because the amount of space you've got to work in just here is quite small. So I think the app will be quite a useful feature on the machine. One other little feature that caught me out, but I quite like, is auto purge. And what that means is when we finished with a shot of coffee, and as we pull the portafilter off and we're getting rid of the spent coffee, the machine will flush itself. It flushes a little bit of hot water out of each of the groups once we finish with them. Steaming was great on the machine. We all enjoyed steaming. We've got a lot of steam pressure in here. We've got a very dry steam. So the first thing we did is we put a steam tip on with smaller holes, so we had a bit more control, but it was easy to steam on. The spin we generated was very, very powerful, and the quality of the milk each member of the team produced was excellent. It is an easy machine to steam on. Took a little bit of getting used to the little paddles here. I'm used to either pulling on and then pushing off, so doing the opposite to turn something off. And on this machine, you push both times. So to turn the steam on, you push, and off you push. So the first couple of times that caught me out, but once I got used to it, it's very easy. There's not a lot of effort required to turn it on and turn it off. The bottom part of the lever here is a purge, so we can set a separate purge to a continuous steam, or you can swap them around so you can have purge at the top and continuous at the bottom. There's a whole load of stuff that we've not explored in terms of the machine and deep in the machine itself. There's a whole diagnostic side of the machine that we've yet to explore. There's feedback for service engineers built into it. There's also a facility to look at flow rates and to graph flow rates, so you can compare flow rates across groups. You can identify channeling issues using the app. All kinds of things that over the next couple of weeks we'll kind of dig into and explore a bit more. One nice little feature inside the machine is in the drip tray, in the waste tray down here. So every time you finish making a shot of coffee, the machine just back flushes a small amount of hot water. It's the residual hot water, what's left over at the end of the shot, is back flushed down the drain. So all day long, every shot, we're losing this hot water down the drain. This machine passes the cold water pipes through that waste hot water. And there's a bit of a heat transfer, or a heat exchange goes on, and we're just slightly heating that cold water coming in. And it represents, they say, a 5% energy saving just by using that waste hot water. A couple of us thought the drip tray seems to hold a lot of water. It's the one thing that we probably thought wasn't as good as it could have been. So after the purge, there was a lot of residual water left on the drip tray. So we had to get into a clear habit of wiping the drip tray after every coffee to prevent that dampness underneath each cup. It's a minor gripe, but it's something that we picked up. Overall, the feedback has been overwhelmingly good from the team. We have the machine here for a couple of weeks. We're going to have a bit of a play around. We're going to delve into that menu a little bit more and find out what are the tricks it can do for us. In the meantime, if you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to get in touch, and thanks for listening.